Hey everyone, I'm David Room. We're gonna do a chill, low poly 3D modeling Python programming stream tonight. It's pretty late here, it's almost midnight, and everyone else is asleep in the house. My new baby is sleeping right now, so we're just gonna have a chill time. Probably not gonna talk a whole ton unless we get a lot of people in the chat, but we'll see. Might be a little too late for a full crowd tonight, but got some synthwave type stuff on, and I'm going to be working on something a little different. We're going to do some modeling of furnishings and interiors for my game's hub area, which is a giant carrier spacecraft, and there's different rooms inside that go with the different menus. And I've been building a simulator. I'll actually show you what some of this stuff looks like here in just a second. I've been building a simulator mode, and I want to build a new room for the simulator menu to be in. I started on it last night, and I was sketching out some ideas for some of the different scenery and stuff to go in here, so we're gonna just start building it and see how far we get. So let me just show you. So currently the simulator mode looks like this, and I just have it set in the hangar area. Oh, and I've got bunny mode on. I've built a bunny mode for my daughter that puts bunnies in here. But this allows me to launch kind of an instant action type scenarios where you can choose which kinds of ships you want to engage with. Instead of the hangar background, I want to have a dedicated room. Let me just actually quick fix this bug. I just saw a quick bug here. So I should be able to change these. Yeah. Should be able to change these names. Check. It's odd that I broke that. Let's see if this fixes it. It should, yeah. So I can launch a simulation here. I don't have any behavior trees loaded up for any of the ships. I don't have livery or anything, but they should all be there. So what I'm working on is a background, kind of a background for this area. I'll close all this, forget my bench. So I've got a module called Carrier Interior that has functions for the different scenery and bits and pieces. Let me actually just quick share a link on Twitter. Kind of liking this music. I thought I'd try something a little bit more chill than my usual stuff. So this is still White Bat Audio. It's his 2-hour synthwave mix. Almost done here with this. Whoa. Right. All right, so I'll actually just uncomment this stuff so we can see some of the other parts. And I don't think we'll get as far as integrating this stuff into the game tonight, but we'll see. So there's this cargo hold. There's the hangar, which we saw is the background for a lot of the stuff. Your current ship that you'll be working on sits right here, sort of a briefing area, mission planning, bridge area down here. This is the rest of the interior of the carrier that will hold other ships as you kind of assemble your fleet. Elevators that link things together. Your quarters. So if you guys have ever played X-Wing Alliance, as you progress through the missions, you collect different artifacts and mementos and stuff in your quarters, so this is going to kind of be that type of area. And then this is the new simulation room. So this would function as is, but I want to add some more details, specifically hardware for a simulator. And instead of having a nice pod, because in my game you're kind of like you're not like a professional military, you're kind of a group of kind of a ragtag group of people. Instead of a nice pod, you're just going to have some different pieces of ships, or like ship cockpit stuff, and your helmet kind of hooked together, and cables different places. And I want to make some holes in the floor and panels and stuff. And then I also want to build a little computer model, like a kind of like a mini computer that'll sit on the floor. In my drawing it looks like this, so we might try to sketch that out. And then I have some spline functionality that I built a while back that I think will work for making cables that go across the floor, so I'm anxious to try that. So let's get into it here. Here's what everything looks like in Blender. I don't have the simulator room in here, but I think it'll probably sit somewhere in here. Just for fun. It's not really necessary, but just for fun, I'm trying to actually put this inside the ship. I need to actually update the carrier model, since my models have gotten somewhat more detailed since we made it, but it's kind of fun. So yeah, and all of this stuff is being generated with code. So it's kind of a fun process. We don't need to bring up Blender here, so we'll just exit here. Probably do some new stuff here in furnishings, and I have a kit viewer here as well, so as we build different components, we can easily sort of view them all together in a nice Blender scene for debugging purposes. I implemented some rectangle packing. So I see Edward Mentzer in the chat. Hey, how's it going? He says, what up? These models are looking cool. Thanks. This is the interior of the carrier, which is kind of the hub area of the game. So I'll bring it up again if you didn't get a chance to see it. So I'm building the simulator menu right now, but the rest of the game hub kind of takes place in this carrier, and there are some different areas for the different menus. It's in bunny mode right now. I need to take it off bunny mode. I made bunny mode for my daughter, where it uses bunnies instead of the different characters. Can go into the elevator. Here's the quarters, and so there's different menus that you can go into, and then the cargo hold. This angelic being is kind of guiding the mission. Yeah, bunny mode. I thinking more about it, I'd like to actually do something with bunnies in the real game, because it's kind of a cool aesthetic. And then the simulator is going to have its own screen, so that's what I'm working on right now. We probably won't get as far as getting it into the game today, but yeah, Edward Mentzer says it would be a cool Easter egg. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no pun intended. Yeah, I was sketching out the stuff that I wanted in the simulator room in church this morning, and my little girl, she's like, "You should draw a bunny," because she knows, she likes the bunny mode. So I drew this little bunny. Got me thinking about it. One Easter egg that you could actually do is you could just straight up replace all the characters with bunnies or other animals, kind of like almost like a Star Fox kind of thing. The game story is pretty dark and serious, so it might not work. I wouldn't probably want to make the actual game like that, but something funny to think about. Someday I'm gonna make some kind of game or something that has like anthro characters, because I think it's just sort of a cool aesthetic, but things to think about. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to build is I want to build a I want to build kind of like a spotlight that is going to sit in the corner and illuminate the room. The ship's like main lighting system is not working, so there's these spotlights that are set up in different places, kind of like in the hangar. Gives this kind of atmospheric look to everything. And I've been wanting actual models for a long time, so let's try to build a spotlight model. Okay, so let's see here. Gonna sit in the corner of the room. At some point I need to make a I'm gonna close my door here. Need to add a. Oh yeah, I did add an identity. There it is, right there. Okay. Oh yeah, Doug Weiss is Ophanim making an appearance. Just caught up. Yeah, I'm proud of that Ophanim. It still needs some work, but it definitely's got kind of a spooky vibe to it. And I was happy with the way the rotation animation ended up working. Okay. Let's just go ahead and make this a parts set right away. Yeah. Because let's steal this. set the parent to. Okay, so Edward asked, out of curiosity, when did you start this project? So I started it in 2021, I believe. Actually, yeah. So I started it in about May of May of 2021. Yeah, it was actually quite early in 2021. So this is some of the first work logs that I have of early stuff that I was doing on it. Some very early carrier interior stuff. I think it was actually somewhat early in 2021 that I started this. And I made a ton of progress on this project in 2021, but then kind of all of the hard parts hit. So it's been a little bit of a trip since, but it's kind of fun because I feel like in the last year I've learned to just chill about this and just kind of enjoy it, and that it's taken a lot of the pressure off, that I can just work on the parts that I'm interested in and enjoy it, and I'm not in a rush to finish it. It's just something fun, and something fun that I can share. So what kind of you said, Edward, that projects that you've started have only ever lasted a couple months tops. Have you tried game development projects before, or are you talking about like other kinds of projects? So we know our spotlight's gonna have a stand. And it's going to have the light itself, so we're just going to kind of flesh this out like we pretend that we have it. Okay, so Edward says, usually full stack web apps for various things, mobile apps, never really games, but I'm getting into that. Nice. Yeah, I have really enjoyed this project. And it's a bit more than just the game. I don't know if you've seen any of my high detail modeling streams, but the goal is that I'm sort of fleshing out this sci-fi world, and when I make a piece of content, I can kind of reuse it in different ways. And geez, I type. Just test this out here. Let's the idea is, you know, if I sit down and work on it and I build a little thing, like tonight I'm gonna end up building these little tiny like pieces of low poly furniture, right? Not a big thing, but the idea is, if I spend the time working on that, it's not just low poly furniture in the simulated room. It's like a piece that I can reuse in a lot of different ways, especially for the ships. So that's kind of the goal, is each part of this is kind of turning into a piece of a bigger thing. Okay. So let's start with just a cylinder for the stand. And let's actually give it some feet right away. So let's see here. So we'll make a foot out of a rib. So parameterize this thickness right away. Just thinking about what this foot is going to look like. Just making a triangular cross section of it here. Something kind of shaped like a triangle that looks like this. Take a look at this, see if it's what we expect. Forget, I have a nice function here that does exactly what I want. Oh, I remember. It's just solid from rib. Rib. Solid from rib triangulate. That's it. Okay. So, see here. I think this it should be facing in the Y direction, so I think we can spin it in Z. Spin, put 3, and this spins it in Y. So we're going to want to rotate it and then rotate it back. Then we'll union this together with our stand, which we actually want to offset a little bit. Let's see how far we got here. Almost. And this actually needs to be, let's see here. Plus, let's see here. That stuff is awkward, but it should go away once we, yeah. Okay, but we want that to be a little longer. And let's actually, I think we want to give it 6 sides. Yeah, I eventually am gonna want this to be not quite so much. And actually, I don't think we don't need to actually union any of this. So oops. Yeah, we can clean this up later, but this is the basic gist of what I want for the stand for the light. And then we'll, let's see here. Could actually make this a little bit shorter. And then I could do a little like U-shaped frame that the light could go in. That would be good. So get rid of some of these views. Yeah, so let's see, how do I want to describe this frame? I can use some of my 2D booleans. So I can do a, first of all, we want to establish what our radius of our light is going to be. It's going to be something like 15 centimeters. And thick is going to be 5 centimeters. So, to a 2D rectangle. Red, but then we'll do ×2, and we gotta offset this guy by now let's plot these. Oh, this needs to be 2. Yep. Okay. So now we're gonna do a 2D boolean on this to make our rib. Frame is going to be solid for rib triangulate. Rib width times 3. And then let's see here. Okay, now our light is just going to be a cylinder for now. Let's see how he did. Hey, look at that. That's almost exactly what I want, but I guess we have to offset the frame a little bit more to give it room for it to pivot. So we want to do minus light rad. Now if I do that, now let's just see how this looks. Yeah. It's a little bit long. All right, let's get it into the room and see. See how tall it is. Well, there it is. Let me actually drop a person in there just so I can judge the scale. This low poly figure I actually manually modeled. And I just use it as a stand-in. I have a different model that I load. For the actual game that is programmatically modeled. We'll put him Okay, so that spotlight could definitely be taller. And then I want to pivot that frame. So let's do that. We might as well just do it in here. It's gonna be actually yeah, a bit further. So something like that is looking pretty good. Maybe a little taller yet. All right, so we got that. Let's take a look at, see if I have that spline stuff. Let's try to make some. So we're going to use these spline functions. I'm actually just going to go ahead right away and move them to a new module. I've been trying lately to just be more aggressive about refactoring stuff rather than letting it sit in a bad state, you know. And that has, I feel like, paid off pretty well. So yeah, I've got this is the main function that I want. So basically I can give it points and then I a sort of a smoothing amount, which is the smoothing factor
of the B-spline. Yeah, smoothing condition.
And then I can just say, give me any number of points that go between those points. So what we want to do is we want to run some cables. And let's take a look where we might want to run some cables. Let's just, because what I'm envisioning here is being able to find the different objects and as they're placed in the room and kind of run some cables between them automatically. We're gonna see how it works. So So if we want to run from the spotlight, and let's actually, just as long as we're going, let's just go all out and make a little outlet in the wall. So and this guy will just be like a little box. Nothing complicated at all. So this will be a little box that So it's going to be in, let's see here, X, Y. So it's going to be stuck in the wall on the right hand side. About 0, and we want it up a little ways off the ground so we can just eyeball it. Let's just see how this looks. Yeah, so there's our little wall outlet. So we're gonna try to run a cable between here and actually let's run it from here over to the center of this projector, and or maybe the edge of the projector. Yeah, it's 5 by 5. So let's see here. Now, let's think about how we want to describe this. So as I'm building this out, I'm trying to find nice ways to do things, and I know for a fact I'm going to be wanting to run more cables in the future. So let's think about how I want to describe how this cable is going to snake around on the floor. I'm picturing if I can just describe offsets at various fractions of the way along the cable. Like a straight line between the start and end, then I think that'll give me my spline control points that I want. So let's so we'll just call seg our end minus our start, and then we can just make our points like this. We'll have start, end, and then we can add some different ones in between. So let's add a seg. Let's see here. Let me do this. Actually, I should have a. Linear interpolation is just one of those things that you write a million times. actually, I want to make it right here. So I can interp rack. So start plus and start. That's what I want. So chirp. So let's just take a point halfway in between and add a little bit of an offset to it. Mostly we'll be just adding Y offsets here. Let's pull this back a little bit here. Just imagining what this is going to look like, but I have no idea if it actually will look like what I picture. We'll see. Projector anymore. Not the projector, the spotlight. Oh. Yeah, okay, that is actually almost exactly what I was wanting. Nice. Okay, so now here's what we can do. So with this set of points, I have a function called pipe. So cable. It's a pipe, yeah. So pipe dot pipe points and rib. Let's see what is all in this. So let's see, offset caps. We don't need caps. Don't remember what all this stuff was. Let's see here. None. False. False.
Oops. There's going to be a little circle that is rad. It's going to be like just like 5 centimeters wide or something. Maybe 5 subdivisions. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Why is it sloped up? Oh, that's to the outlet. That's why. Cute. Okay. It's once again exactly what I want. Let's. Okay, so, and we're gonna turn this inside out. Yeah, faces. Okay, so this is what it looks like without the spline smoothing. So what we want to do now is we want to add smoothing, and so what we're going to do is points equals tell you what, I'm liking this new synthwave playlist. It's pretty slick. Maybe not quite as chill as I wanted, but still pretty nice. Okay, so spline dot smooth point spline points. Now I don't remember. Okay, so something like 0.01. And we'll do like 12 points. And then we also are going to want to tweak this a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Okay, now I want this cable to set on the floor. So basically everything except that very last one I want to be at an offset of cable rad. So
let's just actually, before we get too much farther, let's just get this in the scene. Make sure that everything is oh. Yep. Okay. All right. So that looks actually really good. Need to make that outlet a little bit bigger, don't we? Yeah, I just want to make sure everything's in the right. It's hard to see where we're starting and ending without seeing it seen. Just make everything. So if the end is yeah, so we want to just say everything except points. So everything except the start. The Z value is going to equal cable route, so that way it'll set right on the floor. Let's see how this looks. We might have to add we'll add a little actually, you know what we could do? I wonder what happens if we run it through the same function again. Yeah. Look at that. Beautiful. So basically what we did there is just kind of like doing some iterative refining of the Z values. So pushed everything except that first point down to the floor. Then we refit the spline and then adjusted everything except the first two down to the floor. Actually, it could be that, we'll just take a look at this, but it could be that we'd basically get the same thing. No, I think I like that better. We're still not hitting that outlet quite like I want to. What's going on with that? Are we just coming? Out the side or what? Yeah, it just needs to still be a little bit wider. Yeah, because if I... Let's look at this. So if I set everything to 0 except the first two here, we'd still have this big drop, which wouldn't look super natural. Whereas this, I think, looks somewhat better. The other thing I could do is this. Let's try this. Meh. I don't want to waste too much time on getting this exactly right. I can always ding around with it later. Let's actually add another outlet to the projector. So I'm going to take this and make this kind of a generic thing. And is that? Oh, because I didn't I didn't add the offset here. That'll do it. So I'm just attaching this. So there's that, and actually let's bring this back in a little bit. Now see, the cool thing is that as I adjust this, my cable that I'm running is gonna adjust, because I'm sort of parameterizing things. Look at that. Beautiful. Now I just need to do the middle of it, so instead of, I need to let the other end come up. So let's see here, spline. So 1 to -1, and then 2 to -2. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Now, we still got this kind of sideways problem. Let's just fix that by adding some interpolation points in. So let's add a control point in and see if that fixes that. So, and we can actually do the same. So we can do end plus actually, so we'll do a little bit of a X offset, but mostly a Y offset. Let's try one at start as well. So we'll do start. So it'll just come out of the wall a little ways, like 10 centimeters out of the wall. Straight. Now, of course, when we resample the spline, it's gonna, yeah, those need to be farther. It's actually helping somewhat though, so that's good. So we'll just crank it up. See what this does. Yeah. So maybe 0.3 is a little bit too much. We could do 0.25. That looks great. And you know, another thing that I can do is I can just tweak the end over a little bit to compensate. So I can tweak this over by like 5 centimeters. Yeah, that works too. All right, I'm pretty pleased with that, and I feel like we came up with a good kind of generic method, or not generic method, but sort of it's a little bit too far. A good way of doing this. So let me actually just get some of this stuff out of the way. Clean up some imports here. Yeah, so we're basically smoothing the spline, or we're finding smooth points once. We're setting our Z's for everything except the first point down. Smoothing again, and then setting again. Just adding in auto smooth angles here. So this needs to be higher. Let's see here. So we'll have something like 45 here, and this might be. So let's see. Yeah, that looks okay. I just need to dial it up higher than I'm dialing it. Cool. So when we add a computer in here, we can also run some more cables around. I think, let's see, how many? Oh yeah, 110 triangles is not bad. That's not bad at all. I don't really have real triangle limits, but I'm trying to not let some of these counts get out of control. So let me see if there's anything else we can do here. One thing I was gonna do just really quick is I was gonna actually just take a look at adding in some pieces of ship cockpit. And once we do that, then I think we'll call it good for tonight, because we've been going for a good hour and a half at least. Made some nice progress with the spline stuff. I think this is the first time that I've used that spline functionality in my game art. I actually built it for a different project. Yeah, so that was cool. Okay, let's just try to load a couple things in here. I'm just trying to recall how the scale on this helmet stuff worked. Seems about right. Okay. So see, so we wanted at just gonna look at one more piece here. I got the helmet in here. And I'm just gonna get a cockpit piece in here. I have a cockpit piece that I think will go okay in here. I got the little helmet sitting there on the edge of that pad. Let's actually bring it a little farther. I just really enjoy how quickly I can iterate on stuff. Like literally every time I'm running the program, it's building all of this stuff from scratch, but it's fun. Okay. Now let's see, there's a cockpit piece. Let me see if this is usable at all. I think this is the cockpit mesh that I use in game, and okay, yeah, that's definitely it. So, but we don't need all of these pieces. Although it actually, just wondering. Okay, it looks like these are concatenated together. So I wonder if I split this and take the largest of the groups, if that'll be what I want. A couple tweaks that actually might look nice enough to use the whole thing. Let me just split this apart here. Unfortunate. Is it actually all one piece? Am I unioning this together? Oh, how horrible. Okay. Well, this is a project for another time. With some tweaks to this, this might actually look okay setting in there. I wasn't thinking about the outside of this when I made it. Yeah. Okay, so I made some great headway today. We've got figured out a nice way to add a cable, and we built this little spotlight that will be a nice representation of how the light is actually lighting the scene when we get this into the game. Integrated the helmet, kind of looked at some cockpit pieces that we'll be adding in sometime soon. So we made some nice headway on this little interior scene. Thanks everybody who hung out. It's good to see you again, Edward, Menser, and it's always good to see you, Doug. And yeah, have a good evening, everybody.